welcome to week 2 of the high school football season. You have found us right here on ABC 15, and this is the End Zone. I am your host, Brandon Dunn. Andrew James is not with us tonight. He is on vacay, so I'm driving this truck solo, which is no big surprise. I've been doing it for years and look forward to a big show tonight. We got a packed house. That's right. Lots of scores, lots of highlights coming your way. We're going to start off with the big boys in Class 5A. Socastee undefeated on the season. They were tested tonight, taking on one of the best in Class 4A in Jody Jenneret's Knights from West Florence. Rocco Wojek not in the house tonight for the Braves as he's recovering from surgery. Nothing serious, but it's something that will keep him out for quite a while. Godspeed and get back soon, Rocco. All right, so how would the Braves do against the Knights tonight at West Florence? Pick it up here before the half. Deuce Hudson, long pass. Bryson Graves, that connection. Been telling you about it all season long. Touchdown West. Hudson gets a little love, and the Knights are off and running. But Socastee comes back. Scott avoids the dog pile, gets some distance on that West defense, and he's going the other direction for the 6. That is why you keep your feet moving. Jody Jenneret looking on. Can't be pleased by what he saw from his defense, but nevertheless, this one was good. He's back from the Knights. Hudson looking downfield, tucks it, finds some running room, breaks some tackles, hits the sidelines. That young man is in for 6. Cash it up. West looking good. Back and forth we go in this ball game. Socastee answering the bell. You can do it, we can do it too. Omar Taylor, Scott, speed, touchdown. Braves, got to give them credit. They battled, but West Florence would go on and win this one as they would handle business late in the game to run away with it. 54-13 Knights picking up that 3rd win of the season. They remain perfect on the young year. Big win for them tonight over a 5A opponent who had come in 2-0 in the season and just knocked off a ranked team last week at home. Braves suffered their first setback of the season, but they're heading back home next week for another big test as their rivals from Myrtle Beach will make the trek over to Socastee to play host to the Braves. As for West Florence, well, Dreer's coming to town. So the Knights have another big test on the horizon as they prepare for their 2nd straight home game. Of course, it's going to be another big one. We'll see how the Knights do next week and see if the Braves can bounce back and pick up a huge win over Myrtle, who we'll get to in just a few minutes. We stay in Class 5A as we head down to Charleston. Carolina Forest on the road, looking to bounce back and taking on Oceanside, who also lost last week as they lost to South Florence. All right, Chad Wilkes and company, there they are. 6-0 Carolina Forest. Oceanside driving. They're going to cap it off with this ridiculous bounce from Charlotte-bound Von Blue. That score puts the Land Sharks up 7-6. More from Oceanside. Their quarterback, Edward Reinerbeck. The keeper, nice first down on the yardage. The drive continues as the quarter ends. We switch sides. Riddenbeck again with the score this time. Oceanside up 14-6. It gets wild in the 4th. Scott Saylor, the keeper, reaches for the goal line and he gets it. Panthers tie it up and take the lead moments later. But one more opportunity for Oceanside. Blue in position to be the hero. Right up the middle. Panthers can't tackle. And that right there, my friends, is your ball game. Oceanside rallies to hand Carolina Forest a heartbreaker. 28-24 Land Sharks over the Panthers. CF falls to 1-2 on the season. Back-to-back losses after a big opening win over Brunswick to start the season in week 0. Now they got to turn their attention to one of the best teams in Class 4A in the state of South Carolina as they will travel to Florence next week to take on the Bruins, who are red hot. That is the CW21 Friday Night Rivals game of the week. It's the Panthers, it's the Bruins, setting the stage for next Friday's 7:05 kickoff. We'll see how that one plays out as the Panthers find themselves with their backs against the wall, so to speak, preparing to take on one of the better teams, as I just alluded to, in South Carolina. All right, Myrtle Beach home tonight to take on St. James, who has been red hot, 2-0 on the season. Myrtle Beach looking for their first win of the year after dropping their first two, including last week's Saturday setback in the Battle of the Bell, losing to Conway. How would this one play out? Let's pick it up in the second quarter. Myrtle Beach leading. Nice crowd on hand at the Shaw. Trey Dunn looking, scrambles, tucks, finds the corner, and he's going to find 6. Bowling over the defender, 20-7 Seahawks. Nice run by Mr. Dunn there. St. James, though, answers the bell. Connor Schwam, darts, Faulkner, touchdown, 23-14. Myrtle Beach led, but the Sharks were coming back. Third quarter, Seahawks answer. Malachi Washington straight up the guts. Huge run, breaks it off. Myrtle Beach starts to pull away. They take a 30-14 lead. Trey Dunn about puts this one to rest. Another keeper, another touchdown by the quarterback. That would be all she wrote. Myrtle Beach picks up their first win of the season. 37-21 winners over St. James, handing the Sharks their first loss of the season. That was a big one for Myrtle Beach. They had to have it. They couldn't go to 0-3, not because, it matters for the playoffs, but from a mental standpoint, dropping 0-3, man, that's tough on young men having to bounce back after if you got into that situation. But they didn't. They pick up a win. We'll see if they can continue that next week when they go to Socastee. As for St. James, they continue to be road warriors, so to speak. They head up to Lake City to take on the Panthers as they continue their road swing. That would be 4 consecutive away from St. James. I believe they got one more on the road before they will have their first home game in their new duds. Ashley Ridge, home to take on Conway. The Tigers, fresh off that big win over Myrtle Beach, could it carry over tonight down in Somerville? Let's pick it up first quarter. Ashley Ridge with the ball. Chris Simmons, he runs it down. Finally knocked out of bounds by Brantley. Ashley gets the first down. Second quarter, Ashley Ridge. Christian Garland gets knocked out of bounds just short of the goal line. He'll get the touchdown the second play, and that made it 6-0. Conway ball, though, they get it going. Rodney Huggy Bear Huggins runs it in for the touchdown. Conway would take a 7-6 lead at that point, but that would be the only lead they have, as Ashley Ridge would rally the troops to win it 23-7. That drops the Tigers to 1-2 on the year. They head back to the backyard next week, where they will entertain Greg Hill and the North Myrtle Beach Chiefs. Loris playing fantastic football right now. They went into North Carolina, into Tabor City tonight to take on South Columbus. These two have been playing a long time. It was the second straight rivalry game, so to speak, for the Lions after knocking off North Myrtle Beach last week. But they do it again against the Stallions. We pick it up first quarter. Man, you got to love that. That Stallion's beautiful. All right, Jackson Huff playing well, pump fake. Duke Bellamy in for 6. Duke's having one heck of a season. Huff is as well. 6-0 Loris. Huff back to work. Cameron Faircloth, 2-point conversion's good. Loris up 8-0. Next Loris possession. Knox pushes his way into the house for another touchdown. Loris led 16-0 at the end of the first quarter, and they didn't take the pedal off the gas the rest of the way. Loris wins their third straight, 46-14. Your final from Tabor City. Man, you got to love what Loris is doing right now. They are winning and winning big and doing things the right way. They go into a bye with a 3-0 start. I tell you what, man, we told you early in the season that we heard a lot of good things about Loras, that they may be the best team in Horry County. Well, after 3 weeks, my friends, you can't argue. They're undefeated. And trying to scratch my brain here for a second, I believe they're the only undefeated team in Horry County after 3 weeks. And that is the reason why Greg Mance joins us live now from Loras to talk about his football team. And Coach, man, I got to tell you, what an outstanding performance from your club tonight and all season long. What was it about this evening that you guys started off so fast and were able to get things going early on with a 16-0 lead after the first quarter?
Well, it starts with the quarterback, and, he had a big night tonight, and he's played well the first 2 weeks. He was on point. We have Duke Bellamy out to the left. We put him away from trips. We moved Duke around, and, if you don't double cover Duke, he's a Division I athlete. He can go get it. He can run. He can make plays in space. So, Duke hit 2 big plays. Jackson did a great job on the run-pass options tonight. I thought the offensive line did a great job. DeAndre Knox, we moved the ball up and down the field on the ground, and it just opened up everything. The offensive line is a group that's getting better each week. Huff is just a sophomore, but each week he gets better, more comfortable with offensive schemes. And, when you got DeAndre Knox and Duke Bellamy out there, that's 2 D1 players that, they command double coverage. So it opens up things for us on offense.
And on defense, lights out 3 weeks in a row. You guys held a very historically really good offense in South Columbus in check tonight. You have to be pleased with the way your defense is playing, and CJ just seems to be continuing to dominate, and he played well again tonight.
Well, defensively, we knew coming in we had 7 starters returning, and we had to lean on this group early in the year, but they've been spectacular. I think we got a shutout against Green Sea in week 1. We gave up 1 touchdown against North Myrtle Beach week 2, and they hit us with a little throwback tonight to get the 14 points, but second half we were lights out. But the defense, they're playing spectacular. C.J. Cox, he led us in sacks and tackles last year. He's having a remarkable senior year. Cam Faircloth, Marquavius Johnson, those guys are really stepping up. 2 inside linebackers, Omar Johnson, Jordan Van Sice, Avery Todd. The group is starting to gel together, and each week we're getting better and better. Javon Johnson, sophomore, had a huge game last week, but, it seems like each week we play, there's somebody different that steps up, and that's a unit. They work extremely hard. We watch tape 4 days a week. We're lifting 5 days a week. They're on point in practice. They're really taking practice serious, and, I think that's why we're being successful early on.
Greg, it's not very often that you see a sophomore quarterback do what Huff has been able to accomplish, because when you're that young, it usually takes some time to kind of get used to the varsity level. No, I know he played the last couple of games last year as a starter, but still relatively young man. Are you surprised by the way he's developed so quickly?
Well, not really. We played 5 7-on-7s this summer, and Huff is just, if you looked at his development from week 1, throughout week 3, and you look at him from his development through the 7-on-7s, he gets better each week, and he's really got a firm grasp of the offense. Lucas Britt, our quarterback coach, offense coordinator, has just done a great job with Jackson. I mean, they watch tape every day. They go over the game plan in detail, and tonight Jackson, he was just on point. Everything the defense tried to take away, he took advantage of it. The numbers in the box, we ran the ball. When they loaded up the box, he threw the ball. I mean, he was just on point, and, the last 2-3 weeks, he's been spectacular. So, the ceiling's the limit for him. I'll tell you, we're excited about his potential.
All right, well, you're sitting 3-0. You and I just discussed it before the show came on. It's a lot better than where you were last year, as you alluded to. Where do you go from here moving forward?
Next week, we'll try to go back to the drawing board and iron out all our mistakes. We'll really evaluate our film since we're open and try to come out next week and just get sharper fundamentally. Our offensive line, we haven't given up a sack yet. I think we had 1 turnover in 3 games, so that's been huge, trying not to put our defense in bad positions. And, we just got to get sharper. We got to make the throws, got to make the plays, really work on running the football, because if you can run the football, it sets everything up. And then defensively, just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, the kids are just really, each week we're getting better. The grades are getting higher. We're tackling better. We're attacking the line of scrimmage. They're reading their keys. They're coming off blocks much better. So, we just really take open week, go back to the fundamentals and technique and try to get better.
All right, Coach. Hey, I appreciate you staying up late with us tonight and joining us live here on the End Zone. It means a lot that you were able to do that. And best of luck the rest of the way. Looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season goes. And you got to be pleased with your team. And, man, it's been fun to watch those guys. So have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
All righty. All right, well, let's keep this train on the track, shall we, and talk about the CW21 game of the week. It is a rivalry matchup between two teams that are about 25 miles apart. Marlboro County, Scotland County, Laurinburg, the sites, and I tell you, it didn't disappoint. Let's go to North Carolina. Get this action going here early on. Time on Bird. Airing it out. Elijah Chalmers in the end zone. Man, they did a lot of that in the first half, and it paid off 7-0 Dogs. But Marlboro County wasn't done airing it out. Bird continuing to do that. This time lifts one up to Covington, who comes up with a great grab. The bobble, the concentration, and the end zone. 13-0 Marlboro County in a blink of an eye. Offensive line gave their quarterback all kinds of time, and it continued. It worked once. Why not go for it again? Bird to Chalmers. He beats two defenders to the house. That puts Marlboro County up 19-0. Ensuing kickoff. Scotland looking for something, anything to get themselves going. Leave it up to Patrick Primus to deliver the dynamite. Picks up the loose ball, rumbles down the 5-10 in-house. That right there would get Scotland back in the game down 19-8. But Bird and company, they come right back. Time on, hits his receiver across the middle. Staglers takes it in for another score. That extends the Marlboro County lead to 27-8. It was 27-16 late in the ballgame. Primus in for another touchdown to cut the Dogs' lead to 27-24. But Marlboro County would hang on down the stretch to pick up their first win in this rivalry since 2018. Marlboro County wins it 27-24. Bulldogs, big win. They go to 2-0 on the young season. They beat two straight rivals in Sherrall last week. They go to Laurinburg and do it tonight against Scotland County. The loss drops the Scots to 1-2. Back-to-back losses for Scotland. That doesn't happen very often in Laurinburg. We'll see, though, what Marlboro County has left in the tank after two big emotional wins, because they go back home to Bennettsville next week to take on Oceanside Collegiate, who rallied tonight to beat Carolina Forest. So, man, I tell you what, if the Bulldogs can win next week and pick up three straight wins over three quality opponents, two that were ranked in the state of South Carolina. Sherrall was ranked last week. Oceanside will be ranked again next week. Man, I tell you what, sky's the limit for what they can accomplish this year in Bennettsville. As for Scotland County, they go back on the road as they go back in to play North Carolina teams. They go to Jack Britt. So we'll see if the Scots can snap that two-game losing skid. And the HTC game ball went to none other than Justin Purvis. The young man delivering yet again, just a sophomore. What can you say about that guy? None other than just doing it and helping out his football team. Congratulations to Justin, as he was the HTC game ball winner for the night's game over Scotland County. All right, folks, when we come back, we've got more scores and more highlights, including the big matchup in Camden. Hartsville making the trek to take on the Bulldogs, a battle of top 10 teams. Highlights of that one coming up next.
Brought to you by Conway Medical Center and Mr. Sparky.
Well, last week we talked about it extensively, saying that if Hartsville could go to Camden after starting the season 2-0 and knock off the Bulldogs on the road at a very difficult place to do so, then Hartsville was legit. I believe they're legit nevertheless because they're one of the best programs in the state and they have been for years. But you go into Camden and win against a team that's ranked third with the talent they have, that's saying something. Let's take you there and show you what happened. All right, pick it up here early on. Bulldogs come out and set the tone as they come on the field, and we play some football. Hickman on the keeper after the handoff. He'll rumble in to give Camden the early lead, but Douglas and company trying their best to get back in the ball game. It's a nice pick up there, but the drive stalls. Mayrant scrambles. He picks up a big chunk of real estate, gets down inside the Hartsville red zone. That's going to lead to a touchdown for the Camden Bulldogs as they extend their lead, but Hartsville not going away. Jake Sean Anderson, the Georgia Southern commits, taking it down the sideline and into the house. Hartsville would trail in this one, but the second half would be outstanding for the team in red and white. Hartsville does, in fact, go into Camden, and they beat the Bulldogs tonight, 36-29, your final, as we take you to the scoreboard. Huge, huge win for Jeff Calabrese and his football team. Calabrese would tell you, yeah, it's a great win. We like doing it, but it's got no bearing on what's going to happen the rest of the way. Yeah, but I tell you what, wins like this, for a mental aspect, is going to get your football team fired up, knowing that they could go anywhere in the state and win on the road if they have to, because they did it tonight. Red Foxes improved to 3-0. Man, they are looking good. They got another tough one next week, though, as they will be home at Kellytown Stadium preparing to take on Dillon, the Wildcats, who were on the road tonight at Wilson. And that's where we go next. Wildcats coming in 1-0 on the season after a big home win over Lamar last week. Wilson 2-0 on the season. Coach Mooney has his Tigers playing well in the early going. Here they come. Love the unis. Dillon, however, gets the party started first. Ty Martin, beautiful fake. Hands it off and pitches it out there to Oxendine. Josiah gets the touchdown. 6 for the Cats as they take the early lead. Wilson, though, they line up and they storm right back. Tremel Eccles, what can you say about the Timminsville kid? He just gets it done. Bulls in there for the touchdown. Back and forth we go. Tigers knotted up. Dillon looking to answer the touchdown on their ensuing play. Martin with the keeper, but it's flushed on the ground. Wilson scoop and score. Tigers like playing defense. They've been known for that. They get in the house. Man, Wilson led this one late, only to watch Dillon, though, storm back and win it. Wildcats take it 42-35. Wilson had their opportunities late, but Dillon capitalized to get the win, handing the Tigers their first loss of the season. Wildcats improved to 2-0 with that big matchup next week against Hartsville. It's 2 undefeated teams, 2 ranked teams, and 2 programs with a history of success. It's going to be a barn burner at Kellytown Stadium. As for Wilson, they're back home next week. Another home game. They welcome Hilton Head to town. We'll see if the Tigers can bounce back as they will be home next week yet again. We move on. North Myrtle Beach, another team on the other side of the state. Line, that is. Taking on West Brunswick. Chiefs looking for their first win of the season. We get it going here early on. West on the doorstep. McCray in for the score. Trojans take the first lead up 7-0. But Chase Hall and company come back. Alan McCormick drug out at the 2-yard line. That sets up a field goal, and that would cut the lead to 7-3. But the Trojans not done in the scoring department. J.J. Cobb, play action, slants, catch, gone. The kid's got some wheels. The 6 puts West up 14-3. North Myrtle Beach would tie the score at 14 at the half and then run away with it in the second half. Chiefs pick up their first win of the season, 42-26. The final tonight in Brunswick, as the Chiefs do in fact get that first win for head coach Greg Hill, which is a big one. Gives them a little mojo heading into the backyard next week, where they will travel to Conway for another Horry County showdown between the Chiefs and the Tigers. We head back up to Florence and we go to Darlington, right across the neighbors, I should say. Falcons at home taking on Lugoff Elgin. Falcons looking to bounce back after they were unable to get a win last week. Let's get it going here on a nice night in Darlington. Lugoff starts the party off, rumbling in for a score. That right there would put the visiting team on the board early. Later on the first, Lugoff not done in the scoring department. Darlington looking for something. They're flushed out of the pocket, trying to pick up a little bit of extra yardage. They do on the drive, but they were unable to muster much. So Lugoff gets the ball back, playing a little trickery. That's another score for the visiting team. Man, I tell you what, Lugoff had a whole ball of tricks in this one, because they were looking to get their first win of the season, not unlike Darlington, and they do in fact get that first win. Lugoff Elgin hands Darlington their second loss of the year. 32-14 is the final there from the Nest. Darlington goes on the road next week as they travel to Sherrall to take on the Braves. All right, let's go to Pawleys Island, shall we? Waccamaw home to entertain another team from North Carolina, Ashley out of Wilmington. Early on, off the kickoff, ball bouncing around. William Cooper recovers and rumbles the other way to start the action. You can't get a better start than that. Next drive, Waccamaw's defense comes up big. The turnover sets the Warriors up in business. In the red zone, Jarrett Yonkers finds Ben. Go on in for a 25-yard touchdown. Second quarter, William Cooper taking that pick six back to the house. Defense was outstanding tonight for Waccamaw, so was their offense. The Warriors pick up their second win of the year, 43-0. They shut out Ashley tonight. Back-to-back wins for the Warriors. They beat Carvers Bay last week, and then they knocked off Ashley tonight. Warriors 2-1 with Johnsonville coming to Pawleys next week. Georgetown in the Low Country, taking on Phillips Simmons, the Iron Horses, hosting those Bulldogs. Final minute of the half. Horses up by a touchdown. Bulldogs with a chance to even the score. Owen Powell finds Miller Nash. Huge gain. He's taken down at the 1. Touchdown saving tackle by Josh Grant. Bulldogs able to punch it in though. Nash puts the finishing touches on that. We're all tied up at 15. But Phillips Simmons gets the final say of the first half. Bulldogs defense stands tough. Iron Horses elected for the field goal. 42 yards out. Griffin Gore good. And Phillips Simmons goes on to win, knocking off Georgetown as the Bulldogs remain winless on the season. 45-15, the final from Charleston. All right, we are just getting warmed up. I told you we had a packed show. More scores and more highlights coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
End Zone Brought to you by Conway Medical Center and Mr. Sparky.
Marion, the Swamp Foxes went back to work earlier this week looking to bounce back after a game they felt they had in the bag last week against Wilson, but the Tigers would rally the troops to beat the Swamp Foxes after a big comeback. So how would they respond tonight against Pageland at home at the Den? We go up Marion with an 8-0 lead at the half. Opening drive of the third quarter. Gabriel Cusack back to pass, throws a dart. Quashid Scott, 99 to the house. That's how they drew it up. Coach Hennessy said, let's go and make a statement to start the second half. They do. 14-0 Marion. Next drive. Cusack back to pass. Gets hit. Ball loose. Central recovers. Pageland in business. That would lead to this. Griffin takes a high snap, hands it off to Rushing, who breaks loose for a touchdown to pull within 14-7. Cheerleaders trying to get the team fired up. Fourth quarter they do. Cusack back to pass again. Jamison in tight coverage pulls it down, setting the stage for the keeper. Cusack in for another touchdown. Man, he is racking them up this year. That would be plenty for Marion. They do, in fact, bounce back. They pick up a win at home over Pageland, 20-7. Swamp Foxes back in the win column, their second of the season. Another road game for them next week as they head down to Hemingway to take on the Tigers. Speaking of Hemingway, they were on the road tonight at 10th-ranked Lakeview. Wild Gators, with their win over Marion or Mullins last week, comes in with a little extra mojo, so to speak. A beautiful night in Lakeview for this matchup between these two. Shaheed Dawkins would start the festivities off for the Wild Gators on their very first possession of the game. Lakeview punches it in. They take a 6-0 lead. They go for the 2-point conversion. Gordon, right into your living room, does indeed convert. 8-0 Lakeview. After a fourth down, which the Wild Gators were able to hold Hemingway to, Terrell Foxworth finds the end zone for the second time in the first quarter for the home team. That right there put him up. Another touchdown, and then Furlong, it's Dawkins for the 2-point conversion. Lakeview goes on to shut out Hemingway 59-0, picking up back-to-back wins to pull their record to 2-1. Tigers still looking for their first win as they drop to 0-3 with Marion coming to town. Lakeview on the road next week as they head to Chesterfield. Let's go Latta, one of the teams on fire early on in the season. Perfect to date. Back home tonight to take on McBee. Here come the Vikings off that big win over EC last week, which was our TV game of the week. But McBee breaking tackles. Brandon Eisman's not going to like that one. That leads to a touchdown for the Panthers as they took the early 7-0 lead. Latta strikes back, huge run to Marion Jones. After being the HTC game ball winner last week, breaks a few tackles, picks up some yardage before he's knocked out of bounds. Jones with the keeper, finds the end zone. That would pull the Vikings within 7-6. We move second quarter. Panthers moving again. The pass over the shoulder, touchdown, Panthers. McBee up 14-6. Latta answers. Townsend fakes the handoff, throws a dart to Leggett. Purnell in for the score. Man, that was a pretty play. Latta would go for the 2-point conversion. Justin Stutler. Yeah, man. He picked up a touchdown last week, picks up the 2-point conversion this week, but McBee would go on to win it 38-26, handing the Vikings their first loss of the season. Latta, though, remains home next week as they will look to bounce back with Lee Central coming to town. We come back to Horry County. Green Sea Floyds still in search of their first win of the season. Same holds true for Mullins as they drop their first two. Who would win their first one tonight? We go second half. Green Sea already up big over the Auctioneers, looking for more. Banks Lovett takes the snap. Shamar Jordan sneaks it in. Green Sea extends their lead to 40-0. The fans fired up, and they should be. Extra point is good, and Green Sea does, in fact, pick up their first win of the season. They win this one 40-0 over the Auctioneers as they will return home next week and await Kingstree as they will be making the trek up to Green Sea Floyds next week. As for Mullins, they go back home, still in search of that first win with Trinity Collegiate coming to town. We'll see what the Auctioneers have for the Titans a week from tonight. All right, Andrews in Carvers Bay. Andrews coming in red hot, feeling pretty good after a win. Carvers Bay still searching for their first win. Brendan Cumby and company forces his way into the house for the Andrews touchdown. The quarterback gets the party started right for the Yellow Jackets. Second quarter, Richards takes the snap and finds his way to the house. The Bears answer the bell, and it's 8-6. Andrews. Donovan Davis runs it in for the Yellow Jackets to extend their lead to 16-6. Third quarter, Davis fumbles the ball. Richard Bromell picks it up. Talk about a heads-up play. He is going back the other way, rumbling in for the 6. Back and forth we go. That was until Andrews runs away with it late. Levon White in for the touchdown, and Andrews in for the win. 48-19. Jackets with back-to-back victories. Bears fall to 0-3 with another home game with Georgetown on the horizon. As for Andrews, back on the road next week as they will head over to HP to take on the Raiders. Other scores from tonight. South Florence continues to roll on early on in the season. 35-8 over Orangeburg Wilkinson tonight. Bruins remain perfect on the season. Heading into next week's CW Friday Night Rivals game of the week with the Panthers from Carolina Forest coming to town. Other scores from tonight. Hannah Pamplico rattles off their second straight, handing Sherrall their second straight loss as the 8th-ranked team falls for the second consecutive week. Raiders 44-36 winners on the road tonight as they will head home to take on Andrews next week. Lake City picks up a win as they go to 2-1. It was a nice win for them after suffering a setback last week at home to West Florence. They will entertain the Sharks from St. James next week. And one other final score from tonight, Lamar. Nice way to bounce back after their first loss as they suffered that last week to Dillon. They go home and win 22-14 over Legion Collegiate. They will be home next week with Andrew Jackson coming